Welcome to the podcast. I'm here with my friends, Alec, who deserves no introduction,
That's
and
right.
Aaron.
Hello.
Aaron is a, what is he? He's a pageant champion, a child pageant champion.
Judge.
And champion.
Yes.
Judge as a child.
All of the above.
Okay.
That's really impressive. He is a pseudo-geologist. He is, believe it or not, a Mossad asset.
Unconfirmed.
Well, you applied to inform on the In the River podcast, the Israeli Mossad.
Unconfirmed.
And a fire truck enthusiast.
Fire enthusiast.
Yeah,
Last and certainly not the least.
certainly not. And a special secret guest coming at some point. I like the glasses, man.
Thank you. Our listeners can't see it, but you were wearing snow pants on, and they're very good.
It's true. Okay, let's get into the content now. Alec,
Yes, Josiah.
get into that content.
Well, this podcast is about Jim Jones and the Jonestown cult. You may not know them, but I'm sure you've heard the phrase drink the Kool-Aid. That is because the Jonestown cult was a cult run by Jim Jones that eventually ended in a mass suicide.
Whoa, no spoilers.
Yeah, for real, bro.
Hey man, I'm just going to tell it how it is, yeah. They moved down to Jonestown, Guyana.
Guyana, I think.
Guyana. Jonestown,
that?
Guyana. South America.
Yeah,
Yeah.
North of Brazil, I believe.
okay.
Not sure.
Jim Jones started out as a creating a Christian not sociology. What is the socialist? A Christian socialist church in Indiana. Eventually migrating to California, where he created quite a following. He was known for a very charismatic personality. Just incredible jet black comb over hair.
Handsome fella?
Handsome fella. He's a
No.
handsome son of a gun.
He
man.
looks weird.
He's a handsome guy, okay. He looks weird, but he's a handsome guy.
Before we get into his church and all that ensued with that, what do we know about his? Do we know anything about his childhood? Where he was raised?
Yeah.
How he was as a child?
And so this is all like, me and Alec have been listening to the Martyr Made Podcast series on Jim Jones. It's like 5 years old. And it's very good. It's called like God's Socialist, and it's like a 7-part series on Jim Jones and the People's Temple.
It's from Darryl Cooper,
Darryl Cooper. He does
host of Martyr Made Podcast. Probably
Very
my favorite
good.
podcast.
Yeah, no, it's like the best podcast. It's like very psychological storytelling. So it's just it's the kind of content when you listen to, you want to talk about. And then cults are just interesting to talk about, like cult psychology and kind of that stuff. But we'll just see where the conversation takes us. It definitely might not all be about that. But yeah, as far as his early childhood, he was like born to parents who, I forget what his parents did. His dad was like, I think his dad was a Klansman. But like back in the time when it was like a social group, like every man in his town was in it. So it was like a lot
You
of
saying
people.
Klansmen like KKK?
Yeah. A lot of people just joined it as like a boys club type thing. And then his mom was like super far left, I think, but neither of them paid any attention to him. And he was just like, he was known in the town. He had a reputation for just like running around naked, unsupervised.
Nice.
Befriended a bunch of animals, and he like, I think he didn't learn how to speak super young. Maybe I might be making that up, but he was like a savage, and he just like befriended a ton of animals, ran around naked, got this horde of animals behind him, and then some people would like take him in and like give him a shower and give him clothes and stuff like that. But this crew of animals like absolutely loved him and would have died for him, and his mom was afraid to punish him because the animals were so loyal to him that she thought they would all attack her. I think that's probably my favorite thing that I learned in the series. Yeah, no, it's so awesome.
So he didn't have friends as a kid.
I think he was also like kind of an obsessive kid, as far as like obsessed with spirituality and religion and like social justice and things like that. So I think.
Were his parents religious at all? Do we know that?
I don't recall.
I
honestly.
believe so. His mom ended up being super involved in the cult. She was like one of his diehards later in his life. I don't remember what became of his dad, but it was also, so this is like the 1950s when he was making his start. That's like when or I guess his childhood would have been like the 40s, but so it was like civil rights movement era, and he was like, I think just like because of his outcast status, like he would just run around naked and befriended, like there was segregation, like white people were not talking to black people and stuff like that, but he had like close black friends. I remember there was something about how his black friends was like homeless, and he like brought him back home to his parents, who said that he like couldn't stay with them, so Jim ran away from home at like somewhere between like 15 17 years old, I want to say, and just like didn't come back after that point. So he started getting into like egalitarian, and like I would say as far as I understand, I think it kind of started with like an egalitarian philosophy, like everyone's equal before God, and I think that kind of like came because like obviously in our time that's like a given, but in his time it was like a radical viewpoint, and I think it kind of emerged from him being an outsider his entire life as a child, and then yeah, he got very extreme with it to the point where he like ran away from home when his parents didn't let his black friends stay with them.
That kind of set a tone for like him being a social justice and social inequality advocate, and he really was like specifically in his early career, he was like a huge fighter for racial equality and anything of that nature. You know, the whole civil rights movement was going on at the time, and someone said this, and Darryl Cooper repeated it, and I agree with it, that, you know, if Jim Jones had died early on in his career, he would have gone down in history as one of the great civil rights activists of the time. And, you know, you could look at someone like Malcolm X that we learned about in school, because Jim Jones definitely had extreme ideas, especially later on, that got more extreme. Well, so did Malcolm X. Like, he was a very extreme Muslim. Like, he had a lot of extremely extreme ideas for that time, and chances are it could have continued to get more extreme with the following he had, and, you know, how the raising tensions of everything. But he was assassinated at a certain time, and because of that, you know, he did do a lot for civil rights, and he's kind of gone down in history as like a very important figure in that, where Jim Jones, his reputation has, I mean, and rightfully so, gotten completely overshadowed by his last act that was, you know, mass murder-suicide.
When I hear that story, like one take on that is like, wow, guys like Jim Jones could have gone down as heroes, but he just had like a bad ending, and it like overshadowed his legacy. But when I hear that, I'm like, I'll bet so many people who went down as heroes, like that same type of thing would have happened to.
Yeah,
because like it takes a certain insanity to like even be in that place, especially obviously it's like
a specific
a cult leader,
type of character, like very charismatic, very, you know, you could say power hungry, but sometimes just, you know, that sometimes they weren't power hungry to begin with, but once they started getting the feedback of power, then it just, you know, yeah, there's so many people that I think were on the linear rise of power, insanity, anything, and just like before they get too extreme, they get assassinated or killed or die.
But yeah, no, I think you're right. But I think part of his innovative thought is why he became the cursed captain of the ghost ship with the Flying Dutchman, where he got that role.
Did that happen?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
But
yeah, when he was like 17 or something like that, he went to college and started operating as a socialist, and he like joined the Socialist crew, and was just up in that, you know. He like found his home. He was looking for a sense of belonging his entire life, and found it with socialism.
At a time when like civil rights tensions were kind of at their highest, and there was a ton of civil rights movements going on. So, and that's an important context to set, because, you know, like Jim Jones started the People's Temple, and it's important to realize that a lot of civil rights movements were going on at the time, and that set the space for the People's Temple to rise and become one of them, because it was a socialist church.
I don't know if it was was it overtly a socialist church?
At time, well, later on, definitely, but it was certainly advocating for civil rights. It was like they were kind of known for coming into neighborhoods or having, like at their location, elderly black women show up who they kind of had like a spy, or, you could call it a spy, but had someone talking to them beforehand and figuring out what was going on in their life so that they could make a real life impact on them. So like, maybe they were late on their phone bill 3 months, then the church would find out about that and go back pay for these elderly black women's phone bills or utility bills and stuff like that. So they really were genuinely making a good impact in racial inequality and specifically the communities.
Focused on the generous side of Jesus' message of taking care of the sick, the poor, the widows.
And that is how the apostles operated. Like, they were just one community. If somebody had extra, he would give it to the rest of the people. It's like one community.
I think you see that cool. A lot with a lot of churches or cults, where, they do have genuinely good values as far as community and communal sharing, and which is kind of, you can kind of see how that's ties into socialism with Jim Jones, how he viewed that as socialism, considering it's giving back, sharing amongst the community and stuff. But I think you do see that among a lot of cults and religions where there's that communal living, communal giving back aspect of it, and that's very attractive and does create a lot of good things too.
And Jim Jones was like when you say the word socialist and you think of its resonance today, it's completely different from like Jim Jones style socialism, because today it's like a identity category, like someone puts it in their Twitter bio and tweets, I support this socialist cause or whatever. But like Jim Jones was like, I don't know, he got like hospitalized at one point because he had chronic health issues, and there was the hospital was segregated, and he refused to be treated until they desegregated the hospital. And he would like, that's just one example. It's been a while since I listened to the series, but Alec just got into it, but other ones aren't coming to mind. But he was just like very extreme with all of his causes, like sacrificially speaking.
He actually put it into practice.
Right.
You know where his church was first started?
Indiana.
Yeah,
it was Indiana. And then eventually, were they run out of Indiana, or did they just organically decide to make the move to California?
It wasn't really organic. He was facing a lot of pressure from like news people were starting to catch on to the fact that there was weird stuff going on, and so they were like writing pieces about them and stuff like that. And Jim Jones was like delusionally paranoid, and some of the paranoia was justified because like some threats were starting to emerge. But Vojin! And we're back.
All right, tap
with
in.
Vojin Novak.
Special guest.
Vojin Novak.
That's right, I'm an alcoholic. That's right.
And he's proud of it.
Yeah, man. I actually been doing dry January, boys.
Nice.
Let's go.
It's not
How's
the
it been
move.
treating you?
Fucking terrible, dude. I hate it.
Yeah.
I try to do stuff sober, and I'm like, dude, this is crazy, man.
Way more fun if you were drunk.
Yeah, like I went to like a coworker's birthday party, and I was the only sober one.
Yeah.
And I was like, guys.
That's when it sucks.
I was like, see you guys soon, man. Like it was like.
Yeah.
I probably got home at like 10. Yeah. I was like, oh my god.
I feel like it's chill until you're surrounded by drunk people, and then it's unbearable.
Yeah, I agree.
That is a fact, yeah, man.
I do wake up in a good mood though, which is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So good. I'll be real though. I did drink a shot on Serbian Christmas.
When is Syrian Christmas?
The 7th of January.
Why
Is that
Serbian Christmas?
It just Orthodox Christmas,
Mm-hmm.
So it's like we still do shit on the 25th, but the Christian Orthodox Christmas is on the January 7th.
Interesting, okay.
Isn't it?
Yeah, I did not know that. Why is it a different day?
I don't know, they're weird, man. Like, it's like, I think we're like on the Old Testament, so like, we're like kind of a little Catholic in a way, you know?
So do they
Your
think that
family's
there's like,
Orthodox?
Yeah.
That's cool.
so do Orthodox think that there's something significant about it, like the 7th of January that aligns better with Christmas?
That's a good question. The thing is, I'm not really I am not Orthodox. I'm just a Christian, you know? So, I'm shunned by my family for that fact, but it's all good. But I still like celebrate it with them because I'm like, yeah, it's my like family, so I just like do shit with them. But I think the 7th, the big thing is like, I don't know. Like, I'm gonna be so real. I don't know. Like, they still believe in Jesus and everything, but there's like saints and all that stuff that they believe in, like Stefan and Jovan.
Stefan Diggs?
Yeah.
They kiss the idol.
Have you seen his
Yeah.
highlights? I mean, come on.
Oh,
Can you
yeah,
blame
bro.
us? I mean,
I've seen. He's pretty good, man.
yeah, it was
I've heard
cool,
that
though.
he's quite like a exemplary Orthodox Christian as well.
Nice. That's beautiful. Good for him, bro.
I heard no such thing.
Shown by his relationship with Cardi B.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen him do.
Repopulating the world. He's doing the Lord's work.
It
I
is
like
in
the
a
Orthodox
decline.
Christians. I've been listening to this. There's a really good YouTube series called like Trisgedon Films or something like that does these films about Orthodox priests, Orthodox saints, and it's so good. Like so many cool stories.
You like it? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting. I don't know. My grandpa thinks I'm gay. P.S. 'Cause he's like,
I met him.
yeah. No, you
Yeah,
met him. He just thinks
yeah.
like, cause I dyed my hair and shit. He thinks I'm a fucking fruit fly or something. He's like, I don't know. And the earrings and shit. He's just so old fashioned, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, he was talking to me so long about the Saints and everything. I'm like, I just couldn't tap in with them at that time. I just was not that intrigued. So I was like, word, gotcha.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
fair.
because you know, like, I don't know about your grandparents, but they just go on rants for like an hour, and you're like, oh god,
yeah.
this is
Yeah.
a lot right now, man.
Yeah.
100%.
Sometimes it's dope if it's a great family lore.
Yeah, if it's some
I
cool
like
shit.
that. I like that type of
I do
stuff.
too, man.
Yeah,
vibe.
my grandpa's probably the best storyteller I know.
Yeah.
They rule so hard, but he tells them so slow. He has like these giant pauses,
Yeah.
like where it's like
Yeah.
for anyone else, if you've never heard him talk before, it's like super unnatural. Like he'll just pause for literally 8 seconds sometimes and be like,
Maybe it just takes him a second because he's like
no, yeah.
suffering PTSD, bro. He's like,
Yeah.
God, I
He's
need to
building-
pause.
he's
I mean, he
building
is, like,
anticipation.
82 also, so it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
you gotta, with his story, it kind of listening to him tell stories kind of changed the way I listen to other people's stories though, because like to really get the full story out of someone, you have to meet them where they are, not like expect them to meet you where you are.
Yeah.
So like my grandpa's gonna just talk at this slow pace with these weird pauses, and you don't interrupt him because like he's got something more interesting than what you have to say for sure. You just gotta wait for him to say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Patience.
It's kind of like watching an old like black and white Western film, like it's just like slow paced,
Yeah.
good story but slow paced.
I haven't
When I-
seen a Western in a minute. What's up?
We went to a holiday at your house.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it was
you
like literally the coolest, one of the most interesting adventures I've ever been on, bro. We walk in the door. What holiday was it?
It's like a Slava.
A Slava?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
what it's called. It's like
Okay.
basically like a Serbian celebration. Like one just transpired on the 9th. It's my grandma's. We have ours that's on the 20th.
Okay, that's sick.
Yeah.
So me and Jake were going to go hot tub with Vojin, and this is actually why I call him Vojin.
Yeah.
We like pulled up at his house, and there were like a million cars outside, and we were like, "What's happening?" Like I thought Giovanna was throwing a rave.
Yeah.
That's what I assumed when we pulled up. And then we walked in, and your entire family was gathered around, and me and Jake were wearing hoods, and one of your uncles starts like pointing at us and calling us ninjas, and then we found Vojin's grandma, who was like yelling at him and pointing at him and calling him Vojin, and then Vojin's mom was there. It was awesome, but she led us into the gallery of food, which was like the most exceptional food layout I've ever seen in a house before. There was like so many main courses, and like probably not a single dish there that I could identify. It's all just like mystical looking.
It's some
Serbian
foreign
stuff.
shit, yeah.
But it all looks so good. And then she led us to the back room. We had just eaten. We were like, yeah, we're not even hungry. She's like, oh, you want dessert though? And then led us to the back room.
Yeah.
It was literally an entire room.
That's the
full
most
of
Serbian
desserts.
thing I've ever heard.
They had
bro.
a dessert room at this
Yeah.
thing.
They would
And
have
then-
shoved food down your throat.
Dude, yeah, it's
Yeah.
weird. Like, it just, it's basically like your family and friends just come over and you get actually fucked up. And
Nice.
you just,
Yeah.
like, there's a buffet, essentially, and you just, like, go eat food, get fucked up, and, like...
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
anything about Serbian culture at all, but that's 100% what I imagine
Yeah,
every holiday is like.
exactly. bro.
Getting really drunk, and then I imagine there's a lot of singing,
Um, not much. More of, like, a lot of Serbian music, as you can imagine.
dancing.
Yeah, I don't know. Some people be feeling themselves, you know, and they'll hit it.
The drunk uncle.
Yeah, definitely
Yeah.
the
You're
drunk
gonna
uncle.
be that one day.
Yeah.
My drunk uncle resorts to violence. So it's like,
That's gonna be you.
I'm not playing,
That's so
bro.
you, bro.
Like, dude, he just off rip. He just like starts squaring up with me. I was like, it's go time,
Yeah.
bro. I know what time it is. He beats my ass, but
Each of them gives you a kiss on the cheek and says, "Nice job, boy."
no. At the end of the day, we're like, nice to see you, man. Been real. And then we just go about our lives, man. Yeah. But funny you mentioned that. I went to, like, the other day, I worked out with Hagen, and he was like, "Where are you on?" I was like, "Yeah, I gotta go to the Slava." It was like my uncle's shit.
Yeah.
I was like, "You can come if you want." Sure,
Yeah.
it was like the same shit. He was like, he
That's
stuck
so
out like
sick.
a sore thumb. But
no,
like,
yeah.
he,
That's so
my family,
awesome.
like, you know, they like joke around and shit. He didn't understand that at first. He was like, "Yo, does your family like fucking hate me?" And I
No,
was
because they're
like,
talking in Serbian too, and they're pointing at you.
Yeah, yeah.
Laughing.
Yeah. No, yeah. I don't know. And all these ducks are coming this way. It's so adorable.
It's so funny.
Yeah, no, but he was like, "I don't think your family likes me." I was like, "Yeah, no, bro. I promise you, it's just like how it goes out here, man." Like,
Yeah.
yeah. I feel like if they
So
didn't talk
funny.
to you, then that's like when they just don't really rock with you. You
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
But
hey, I think we're doing some shit on the 20th, by the way, boys. If you guys want to pull up to my crib, we'll have
Dude, I
some
would
dishes.
definitely know. We have
Some
to.
Serbian
Can we
party?
actually? Can we actually come to that?
By all means, yeah.
Let's
bro.
go, bro.
You guys
I'm
pull up.
so down.
Yeah.
I'm
There's
so
gonna be a lot of
down.
vodka,
100%.
dude. If you guys are into that
Let's
stuff.
go, bro. I want to party with your family.
like some-
again.
I'm gonna fast for 3 days beforehand. just so I can
Yeah.
pound
No, I'm
all
telling
of
you,
that.
need to,
That
bro.
actually doesn't work. It's not an effective strategy.
You gotta eat a lot and then like a lot the week before. and then
Yeah.
fast.
If you fast for 24 hours, you'll have a big appetite. If you fast for 3 days, you won't be able to eat
I
it.
feel like if you fast for even 24 hours, like, even when you eat the first meal, you're so full. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah,
I don't know.
100%. Bro, these ducks are hella close.
I know. It's kind of dope.
Hopefully they come in frame, man.
Yo, we should have brought food for them. No,
We got
feed them some donuts. Yeah.
Do they like donuts, bro?
We'll find out.
It's bread,
Did you
man.
feed ducks bread though? That's the common thing. You go to a park. You feed
Yeah,
them
yeah.
bread with sugar.
Yeah, toss them some donuts downstream and try to lure them in
Throw a
here.
whole one at him.
Yo, we got a friend in the back behind us. Give him some pieces. He's a good man.
Hey, what up, dude? Come here. Seems a little nervous.
Oh,
Oh,
he gave up.
Come on.
He's so close though.
He is so close. He's a great swimmer.
Nice. All right, should we
Cool.
get back to Jim Jones?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually,
Bozon
wait,
Griffin.
let me tell a story real quick because I thought of something that just happened. My brother was at his place talking to a friend, and then they heard this was yesterday, and he just lives in like downtown Colorado Springs, and him and his buddy were talking inside their house and heard like a big crash, and my brother's friend like looks up the ceiling like, what the fuck, where was that from? My brother looks outside the window. The roads were icy, and someone just slammed into his friend's parked car in front of his house.
No.
So his car slid like 20 feet up into the middle of his driveway. This other car is totaled.
Jeez.
My brother's like, damn. So he runs outside. The guy's like, oh, is your car okay? Like, and tries to leave. And my brother's like, yo, like, no, we got to get the cops involved here, man. You're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So cops come. I guess this guy starts like wobbling and like slurring his words and stuff. And then the cops look in the car and there's just like open bottles of alcohol everywhere. So like, shit, well, it's a DUI. Well, then this guy calls his girlfriend. His girlfriend shows up because he's like, oh, it's my girlfriend's car. His girlfriend shows up and she shows up with some other dude, and they're both like, yo, he was not supposed to have this car. Like, he stole this car from our driveway. Like, he's not allowed to be driving it. So it's piled up to DUI, grand theft auto.
Holy shit.
And then
Was it a DUI? Like, was he the one drinking?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, he was like sloshed apparently. And then they run a check on him. Turns out his license had been suspended for like months. So he's got
Oh my
a DUI, suspended license, grand theft auto, and just slammed into someone's car. So they, ambulance arrives, checks him out. Eventually they ship him off, like, whatever's happening. And then I guess out of nowhere, they had been at a party, like, down the street. So just, like, 20 people show up out of nowhere and just, like, all gather in, like, my brother's front yard and start, like, talking, because I guess some people knew the guy, some knew, like, his girlfriend or stuff like that. Which
So
I don't even know if
she
she was
his girlfriend?
That's what I'm curious
Like,
about.
that's
I don't know,
weird,
yeah.
bro.
And then just, like, it all escalates and just turns into, like, a fist fight brawl between, like, these 15 random people. So my brother's friend looks at him, he's like, hey, should we go inside? He's like, yeah, I think it's time for us to
You
go
were there?
inside. No, I wasn't. I just
Oh,
heard
okay.
about this
That's
yesterday.
actually crazy,
That's
bro.
crazy.
Yeah, so they were just, like, chatting inside, and then, like, in 30 minutes experienced someone slamming into their car with a DUI, suspended license, and stolen vehicle, and then just, like, a fist fight between 20 people in
Were
his
the
front
cops
yard.
still here at this time?
Yeah, the cops, I guess, like, ran up and were like, yo, but
Holy shit.
it was like
That's
two
so
two
crazy.
cops trying to break
Dude.
up like 20 people brawling.
Downtown is just some other breed down there, bro.
Yeah, and
insane.
then my brother found out that like a bunch of those people lived like 6 houses down from him. It's like it's a hell of a way to meet the neighbors.
No,
man.
definitely, bro.
Now he just got no car.
What's up?
He doesn't have a car now.
My brother's friend. Yeah, definitely.
That's the worst, bro. Like,
I doubt that dude had insurance, so.
Yeah, it sounds like it was an uninsured car.
Right.
hopefully his show's insured and
Yeah.
get that shit some money for it.
Yeah, the car that got hit had full coverage, but
That's
I
still
don't know, man.
fucked, dude.
Yeah.
Trying to find a new car is just like the worst, you know? It's so inconvenient.
yeah, especially when you don't got one.
Yeah, dude. Like, fuck,
Trying to go
man.
buy a car when you don't have a car.
Yeah.
That's brutal.
All right, we're trying to get back into this Jim Jones stuff.
Yeah, where'd we leave off?
This fucking dude's like right here too. Let's go.
We're sort of just talking about his, when he first started his church and he became captain of the Flying Dutchman.
I don't really know what that means, but
yeah, I
yeah,
don't
he
know
started
what
his
that means
first
either.
church, and then he, he had gotten super involved in the Socialist. I'll give Vojin like the 30-second recap. So Jim Jones like started off super poor. His parents didn't care
Are we
about
talking
him.
about the drug dealer Jim Jones?
I'm
I'm so lost because there's so many Jim Jones.
This is the cult leader, the People's Temple cult, who drank the Kool-Aid, committed mass suicide in the jungles of Guyana.
in Cali?
It was in
They
Cali
were
for
in
a
Cali
little
for a
bit.
minute, but they died in South America.
Whoa, this is
Yeah.
pretty sick.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But he started off. He was born as a kid. He was born as like a young baby, and then from that he went
Nice.
to running around the town naked. He got a crew of animals behind him. His mom was afraid to punish him for it. He didn't really have a community around him, and he like got really into socialism, into egalitarianism. This is like 1940s, 1950s, during like the civil rights era. So he became super into like the socialist cause and the civil rights causes and stuff like that.
Okay.
And then even as a young child, he was like super just like enamored with preachers and would listen to like pop preachers kind of and like study their game kind of. And then he got super involved in the socialist scene, started his own church, and he would later say that like his Christianity was subservient to his socialism. Like later in his life, he said that he was just using Christianity as like kind of a ploy to get people to join the socialist cause. But the way that Darryl Cooper frames it, it's like that wasn't really true. That's like a looking back perspective. Like he actually was invested in it at this point, but who knows? But he started doing these faith healings. He went to a church, I think, and saw a preacher do faith healings, like somebody with some kind of medical issue came forward and got healed in front of the congregation, and Jim Jones was like obsessed with that. And then so he started doing some faith healings and faking some faith healings.
That's crazy, bro.
So he would fake them.
Oh my
I think
God.
some of them he faked. The crazy thing is, I think some of them were real. But he would drug people out on Quaaludes, give people a bunch of Quaaludes so they'd pass out, and then they would wake up in the church service with a cast on, and then he'd bring them to the front and have them just like he'd be like, you have a broken leg because you have a cast on.
Right.
And then he'd be like, we're going to pray over it. And then they'd pray, and then they'd break open the cast, and he'd be like, stand up and dance around, and they would. But the person wouldn't even know what happened to them because they just got drugged.
So you just fake them.
Yeah, he faked some. People say some were real, which that's an interesting topic in and of itself. But
he would also do some stuff like find out, he would have like plants in the audience where there would be new members coming to the church, and there would be plants in the audience that would like learn stuff about different people, so like their names, kind of their background or stuff they were dealing with, and then would like sneak notes up to Jim Jones, and he would get a note, and then in the middle of his sermon be like, and Lydia Malroy, just like say some random name, but like call out someone he's never met before, and like by name, and they're like, how does this guy know my name? Like, I know that you've been struggling with stage 4 breast cancer, but in the name of the Holy Spirit, you are now clean, and just like would just like do these things where he just proclaimed people.
Wait, why did he do this? Like, what was his like cause? He just wanted to start a fucking cult?
Well, so I think his cause really was socialism. Like I think like underneath that, he was looking for a sense of belonging, and he was like wanting to have a sense of belonging, and he was looking to justify his ego.
Yeah.
Like, we can get into the psychology of it, which I think is interesting, of just like trying to, he like always felt like an outcast and didn't really have like a family or a home, so he was kind of trying to create that. But also he was trying to be like the figurehead of it, and like
so they all like did kill themselves in South America. Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's the end of the story. But
jeez, man,
it's
but
crazy.
It started out as like a philanthropic church, like
right,
that did a lot of good in communities, like did a lot of good for social or civil rights and like social inequality as far as racial things.
So that's kind of how they got like the rapport of being like a good.
Yeah,
like,
that's how they started out.
Okay.
And it was a church made of
good
outcasts. Like it was like, I don't know the percentage of black people that were in it, but it was like in a time when everyone was segregated, they created this church that was like full of every type of person, and like a high percentage of black people, and just like societal outcasts kind of that they gave a home to. And like, I think Jim was looking for that. Like, he was trying to find people who were like on the outskirts of society.
Prey on the weak, Oh shit!
Oh no!
I think I'm okay.
All right, yeah.
I can just see the camera a little better.
Yeah, watch out! Don't fall left.
Is it that bad?
It's like you look like you're kind of close to falling on the side. Yo.
Bro, I fell last time.
I saw that, dude.
Yeah,
I'm not falling again.
That was a sick episode, by the way.
I would make
really
some more
enjoyed
edits.
it.
Hell yeah, bro. The episode's not doing too hot, but I think it's great.
Hey man, they can't all be winners,
yeah,
you know?
for real. I think it's kind of random. Like, I don't think I have a big enough audience to be able to look at the data and be like, oh, this got a lot of views, therefore people liked it. I think it's like more random.
I think like, I mean, at least when you start out, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You kind of got to just try it all, you know,
Yeah.
see what clicks. You might have to become a cult leader yourself. Would you rather be a follower or a leader?
A leader.
Really? I feel like a follower would be more fun. Like, I have one purpose, chop trees.
It sounds
And
like we
shit.
like a good crew come together.
Yeah,
You be
dude.
my number one,
Yeah.
Glenn. So he was like a kid running around the streets, naked. He had no sense of belonging. His parents kind of kicked him out of the house / he left. And he was like an idealist, right? He had these high hopes of humanity, and like that's what the socialist cause and like communism and a lot of the philosophies, sort of the philosophy of youth, is often idealism. Like, you're looking at this utopian vision of the world and you're trying to bring it about, and you're willing to sacrifice a lot to get there. And so he was like trying to do that. I would argue that it was like a sense of, he was looking to be known and loved, right? Like, he was looking for a community where he would excel in his genuine form. But I don't know, the interesting thing about like that is like, as he's operating in a not genuine form, but then he's getting a lot of praise for it, so then you fall kind of into that character that's pushed on you.
So how many people do we know, like, kind of like an estimated amount, how many people were in this cult? And did they all live in like a certain area altogether?
So this is like in the early stages in Indiana, it was like just growing, and they were doing outreach by like looking for people. Like Alec had mentioned that they would find people who were like late on their rent payments, and then they would pay their rent for them, bring them into the church. And so like it was a growing thing at that point, probably like a couple dozen to a couple hundred members. By the time they left for California, I don't know how long after its inception in Indiana.
But they all like lived on like a ranch or something together
Not
out
yet.
there? In
At
Cali?
that point, no, not in Cali either.
Fuck! I'm okay, guys.
You're gonna be fine, I think.
Okay. I think I just finally went into the, like, I'm structured well.
You struck
Yeah.
bedrock.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what's
Let's
up.
go. But yeah, at that point in Indiana, I think they had a couple dozen to a couple hundred members. By the time they left for California, they took like around 130 members with them.
That's actually
Which, like,
insane.
that's a crazy thing. Like,
Yeah.
you say, we're moving our church from Indiana to California. We want you to come with us, and 150 people go.
Right.
Like, that's crazy.
Why did they leave?
The people were starting to write stories about him, and his public rationalization for it was that he had a vision of the Midwest getting nuked because it was in the midst of the Cold War.
Okay.
So he said the Midwest is going to get nuked. This town in California is going to be safe. We have to get out of here.
That's crazy.
But in reality, it was like the pressure was starting to come in on him a little bit from
So people were already very suspicious.
outsiders were.
Outsiders.
Outsiders were. And he had this lawyer. I wish I could remember the name of the lawyer. Maybe you could look it up, like Jim Jones' lawyer. But his lawyer was like his boy. Like, that's how he was so effective for so long, was because his lawyer kept the court cases away. They ended up getting in bed with like governments around them. Like, they got people elected in the government, so they were just like running stuff. All the businesses, like, that was a huge part of the opening stages, was they would do these business boycotts in Indiana where everything was segregated.
Charles Gary.
Okay.
Charles Gary.
That doesn't sound right, but okay. But yeah, they would, so everything was segregated where they were, and he was like a huge civil rights activist, right? So they would find restaurants that were segregated and wouldn't serve black people, and they would get like the entire town to boycott them until they agreed to, and it was like coercive. Like, Jim Jones would come in and talk to the restaurant owner, be like, I really like this place, like, this is, we could have a great business partnership. And so like at first people would say no, and then they would boycott them and destroy the restaurant. And then he got a reputation for, like, around the city, everyone knows that like if Jim Jones approaches you, you just have to go along with him, and if you do, it's going to be good for you, and if it's bad, it's all over.
That's fucking wicked, bro.
No, dude, he was crazy, like definitely a manipulative mastermind.
Yeah.
Extremely for sure.
And his manipulation was like grounded in his sort of empathic side. Like, he would bring people in and like deeply care about them, and like, you do that with a lot of people, and you get a good sense of like what people's deepest needs and desires are, and learn how to fill that. And like, people felt very like seen and loved by him, and he would like sacrifice more than the people around him.
And he was also just like naturally an extremely charismatic person that
Right.
just had like a very magnetic personality where, you know, it attracted people who were looking to be appreciated and loved. It had a magnetic thing of like seeking approval, and him feeding into that, and like,
It's definitely
giving
easier,
that to them.
I think, like, to prey on the weak for sure, too, you know? So I would assume, like, I don't know, there's a lot of people out here like that. I don't know,
Yeah.
are cults still a thing to this day?
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
dude. There's a suicide cult like in Manitou, Colorado Springs
What
area.
the hell? How do I
That's-
not hear about this shit? Like, what?
Yeah,
am I
it's
just
like
living
a-
under a rock?
Is
There's
that
like-
cult looking for like 100 virgins to
Yeah, so it's
murder
like
or
a
something?
nationwide cult.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a friend who I won't
He's in it?
name. No, he's not in it, but you know, he's just a curious person.
Friend of the podcast.
Friend of the podcast
Yeah.
as well. Yeah. He's just a curious person, and had a friend who's like, "Hey, come to this drum circle event." So he went to this drum circle and like found out it was a cult, and he was like, "Hey, I mean, I'm not gonna join this cult, but like I'm interested in, like, I enjoy my time here, so I'm interested in hanging out." Well, I guess he like talked to them more and found out that there's like nationwide chapters. So there's like ones in Washington, Oregon, California, Colorado, like across the nation.
Oh my God.
Kind of like fraternity chapters, honestly.
Yeah.
And they all like help each other out. So they kind of all are like small communal things, which that seems to be a central aspect of a lot of cults, like the communal giving back, you know, kind of that relates to the socialist ideas of Jim Jones. But yeah, it's like based on the Bible, or at least that's what they claim. But they're looking for like 17,000 male virgins to join. And then when they have that,
Like total, like across the nation?
Yeah, just 17,000
Okay.
male virgins completely. I don't think it's like specifically 17,000, but some number like that,
Yeah.
where it's like a specific number. And when they have that amount, like they believe that a mass suicide of the male virgins will bring back, like will initiate the, like Jesus returning.
I'll bring back Jim Jones, dude. That's
Yeah.
fucking crazy.
I'll link their
That makes
website in
it
the YouTube description in case you want to join.
Yeah. For
They're
low
actually-
purity
they're
in
actually
it.
a sponsor of this podcast.
Yeah, proud sponsor of In the River
Oh
podcast.
my god, that's actually insane. I can't believe I've never heard of any of this
That is
before.
wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's insane.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
you don't hear about it.
Yeah, I guess they don't really teach you that shit in school or nothing. You gotta go, on your own
You
volition.
should go explore yourself.
Yeah. Wait, so like, would I know this guy that went to the?
You would probably know him, yeah.
Anonymous.
Oh, word. Got
Yeah.
it. We'll bleep that out for you, dog.
Yeah.
That's actually crazy. So like, does he like still hang out over there and stuff?
No, I think once he found out it was a suicide cult, he
He
was
like jetted.
yeah, because I mean, like I said something, I was like, oh, I mean, it sounds like it's pretty harmless in its current form. And he's like, yeah, I mean, it is right now, but there's, the way like cults go and stuff, like sometimes they take rejection as like an attack of their philosophy or anything.
Yeah.
Not sometimes, like that's very common what happens. And so he could see something where the cult's going one direction and then someone, like a prophet, has a realization that they were misinterpreting the text and it's not actually 17,000 because every virgin counts for 100. So actually they only need 170 and they already have that amount. Yeah.
And also, he gets to bang all their wives.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
actually insane. Fuck, dude. Like, I don't want to join, but I wouldn't mind like being there for 2 weeks, just like catching the vibe.
Curious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a boot camp.
Dude, sometimes those cults are like, that's a crazy thing though. Like sometimes if you join, it's like they gatekeep you and like will literally assassinate you if you try to leave because you like
Yeah.
know too much.
Yeah.
In the People's Temple, they would just have them sign blank pieces of paper, and like with the knowledge that if they wanted to leave, they would fill the blank piece of paper out with a confession of something that they never actually did.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
insane.
Dude, that's.
So when they went to California, did they create like a compound or like a ranch where a lot of the members lived? Since they all moved there
Yeah, they
together.
kind of, there was like a couple of stages of California, but the late stage was they did kind of create like a compound where they had communal living. And, that was kind of the big turning point of where it turned from like a philanthropic socialist church to like kind of a cult and communal living. And a lot of things started coming out about like or started developing where there was like an internal hierarchy based on social identity. So like, Jim Jones clearly is the top dog. He
Yeah.
has his people that he deems are other top dogs in the cult, but then it was like very social based. So like black people had a more important role than white people. Black women had a more important role than black men.
So he just reversed.
It's like a reverse.
Society.
It sounds a lot like
Yeah.
like identity politics from like 2020 on it,
Sure.
Damn, bro.
Was he ever married?
He was married the entire time.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
But would they? Obviously, a lot of cults have a lot of sexual practices that they get into.
Yeah,
Exist in this one.
it developed
Yeah.
in
I
I
California.
would assume, yeah.
It's
That's
like
crazy.
incrementally, they I feel like when you're in that position of Jim Jones, you start pushing boundaries, like to kind of see how far you go and start getting off on the power trip of like what you can make people do. And that's definitely what happened. Like he was pushing boundaries and then ended up sleeping with everyone's wives and then and the
He
dudes
can't
too.
hate 'em on
also
that one.
the guys and the girls.
Well,
And then only his inner circle was still allowed to sleep with their own wives.
But
Yeah,
there's
it's
this,
I
crazy.
like,
wonder if
this-
that was a response to when he fell in love but was betrayed by the sea goddess Calypso.
Dude, what are you talking about?
Sea goddess Calypso.
who's that?
Anyways.
Well,
um,
yeah. One thing that he did that's kind of a, there's almost a playbook for starting a religion or a cult, and it seems like when you're far enough in the process, one of the plays that you always play is that you hear from the Holy Spirit or are given a direct commandment, or understand that it's a duty that you must do that you don't want to, but you have to sleep with, you have to take on multiple wives, sleep with
Yeah.
other women.
No, he would get up in front of the congregation and scream at them about how they're draining all his sexual energy, and he doesn't want to be doing this, but he's sacrificing himself for them.
Such a hero.
He's
man.
purifying women
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
by sleeping with them.
Such a
Yeah.
selfless leader.
It's crazy.
Yeah, which I mean, there. You look at a bunch of other religious or cult leaders across time, like, you know, in Joseph Smith's journey of starting Mormonism, you know, he gained quite a following, had a lot of very parallel things consistent with Jim Jones's backstory,
Yeah.
and then at some point was commanded by the Lord to take on multiple wives. So he gathered 40 wives and then gave that ability to other people high up in his church. You know, in Muhammad's journey, at some point after starting Islam and having realizations from deep spiritual encounters within a cave, he was commanded to take on multiple wives and sleep with underage girls as well.
Jesus. So Mormonism was like made in the 60s, right? It's like fairly new.
I think it was like 1800s, because they actually, before the Louisiana Purchase, they started in upstate New York and then moved to the Midwest. And you know, in the doctrine, they actually believe that like the Garden of Eden is right next to where their Holy Land is. That's like, it's either Jefferson City or Jackson City, Missouri.
It's Jefferson City, Missouri.
Wow.
Jefferson
man.
City, Missouri. Yeah.
Have they found it yet?
Yeah, they found it. They found the Holy Land, and then after that discovered that the Garden of Eden is actually right next to the Holy Land. But they moved to the Holy Land
Boys trip
and
to
then
the Holy
got
Land?
ran out by people. So this is when Joseph Smith was still around.
That sucks, bro.
Yeah, they went to Jefferson City, started building up like a commune. You know, kind of seems like this is a typical story, but started building up a commune in Jefferson
Yeah.
City. Got run out. I think went to one other place and then got run out of that again. And at this point, Joseph Smith was murdered and left behind a following who viewed him as a martyr who died for Mormonism, and then continued on Mormonism after that.
Yeah.
So, you know,
It's
you
insane.
got to wonder, because there's a lot of parallels between Joseph Smith creating Mormonism and Jim Jones creating the People's Temple. Different social ideals and stuff like that, but, you know, similar things of them creating a giant following, very charismatic individuals, both kind of claiming themselves as a messianic figure and just getting more and more extreme ideals, where at the right part in the journey, Joseph Smith was murdered and left behind a very loyal following, whereas Jim Jones never died and just brought everything to the most extreme point. So you got to wonder, if Jim Jones had been assassinated at the right time and Joseph Smith never assassinated, if we'd be hearing about the People's Temple as a religious organization that survives today, and reading about Mormonism as a tragic cult in history.
Dude,
for
holy
sure.
hell. So much to think about, bro. That's so real, though.
It's very interesting, all the parallels.
Jeez, boys.
And they're
I'm
both
gonna-
very, you know, philanthropic organizations, very community beneficial. Like, everyone knows Mormons as extremely nice people.
They're
Who
interesting.
take care of the communities, you know.
We're back. Jim Jones.
Jim Jones.
Follow
A
Griffin.
dynamic. I feel like
Follow
maybe we should
Griffin.
finish this story and then get into the psychology and like interesting questions behind it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let's get to the guy on.
Big Boochie.
Okay,
bitches, I'm
so-
sipping.
His lawyer was like his boy.
Yeah.
He was working with Jim to like blackmail and extort and coerce anyone who was like trying to expose them, basically. And he was working with him for a really long time. So this dude had like all the darkest secrets of the cult and like knew what Jim was up to and everything. And Jim had this girl who he had a kid with, who I think was originally the wife of somebody else, who he just kind of stole and had a kid with. And then her and the kid leave. Like in the middle of the night, they just take off and go. And that was like a breaking point for Jim psychologically. Like after that point, he was like max paranoid, like max just like pissed at all of the people who would leave and like would constantly, like, he ramped up all of his coercive tactics to keep people inside of it, and would constantly talk about the defectors, like talk about how evil they were and how they're like spawns of Satan and stuff like that.
There's a lot
And
of
then-
internal tactics that, were set up by him too, but he like encouraged, people naturally setting up things where they would humiliate each other. They would have like meetings where they accused each other of doing things that were against like the cult mentality, the Jonestown mentality. They would like beat each other, just verbally assault each other.
I feel like verbally assaulting isn't the worst. I feel like we all do that to each other.
Well,
No, they would, like-
it's very different with
Yeah.
us. Like,
It would be like a meeting of like 50 people, and someone would be like, I think you weren't doing whatever, and then like 49 people would all just start attacking that person for everything they're worth. Like,
and the people in the cult are also like, this is their only family. They're being 100% sincere about it. And
Yeah.
the people in the cult are there because they were like longing for the sense of belonging. So it's like a little bit different. Like, we all have the friend that like you can't really give shit to because they'll take it too personally. And
Yeah.
it's like, that's the type of person that ended up in this cult, It's
Jesus.
like they were looking for that sense of belonging and like validation and stuff like
Dude.
that. And then they realized that they climbed the social hierarchy by getting close to Jim, which they do by like proving themselves as super loyal. So that kind of led to this dynamic where they were all throwing each other under the bus constantly, like prove their loyalty to him.
yeah, and it
And it
like
was,
didn't
like-
matter if it was a false accusation or anything.
Right.
Like, if you were falsely accused and tried to defend yourself, you just made things 10 times worse.
Yeah.
So like you just had to sit there and take it.
Yeah.
So you get verbally abused, man. God. And
Yeah.
then if you want to leave, you get killed. Fucked up, man.
I don't think they were murdering. Were there any murder scandals?
I feel like you would
Surrounding
assume,
Alec?
right? No.
Not that I heard of, at least not while they were still in California. I don't know too much about once they moved to Guyana.
Yeah. I know when they moved to Guyana, like, Jim took all their money when they got there and their passports. And
Shit.
so
Yeah,
if anyone
when
wanted
you
to
were
leave, they
in
would
the-
have no way.
Oh
When
my
you were like
God.
part of the People's Temple, it was expected of you to do kind of whatever you were assigned, but to give like as much as you could. And sometimes as like a punishment, or not even a punishment, Jim could just feel like you were either not contributing enough, could be like a risk to leave or something like that. So he would assign you to like go do something extreme. And like one case I can think of, there was like an arranged marriage between this guy and this other person. They both had a different love interest, but were like kind of showing signs of wanting to leave with their love interest. So he assigned the two of them to like forget about the person they were interested in, get married to each other, move to a different place, start working normal jobs, and donate like 80% of what they had to the church, as well as host like it was like at least a dozen people in their home. So they were working in this place isolated from the church, supporting like a dozen people living there. And like, let's say they were making like a $60K salary. They were living off of like less than $10K and donating the rest of that. So it was like,
That's
even at that
insane,
time,
man.
they were living like in poverty. Like the way they were living was like as if they were in poverty, even though they were making good salaries,
Yeah.
but like donating all of that to the church.
Jim did set the
Sick.
example as far as he asked people to go, he went further. He never
And
slept.
he did it first.
He was
and
on
then
speed.
always
He,
did it.
like, and then later he got into more hardcore.
All the greats are in
Later
the
he was
speed,
just
man.
straight
Well,
up
at
on that.
first
But
when they were in Indiana, he wasn't on any drugs, like notably at least, like, or that hasn't been
Yeah.
like documented.
yeah,
So he was just
and
like,
he was still never sleeping. And,
yeah,
like,
he would work
constantly-
like 20 hours a day, sometimes
Yeah.
like 24, 48, 72 straight.
What the hell?
It's like
pulling
that alone
stuff.
will make you go insane.
Yeah, no doubt.
Sleep deprivation and
fuck?
constant engagement is all you need to go literally insane. But
So,
then he
but-
started getting drugs up in there too.
But he definitely set the example, like you said, for everyone
Yeah.
in it. He was like,
Like, he was the most sacrificial and the most empathetic, which is like we should get into that, like the psychological profile after we finish the story. But so like his girl and his kid take off, and he starts freaking out. And where Alec was talking about how they would just like target people and attack them, he became way more paranoid, started doing that more just like chaotically and without reason. And just, yeah, the paranoia was taking over. And when you're operating in that worldview where you think everyone's targeting you and everyone's against you, like everything becomes a reinforcing, like everything that happens to you reinforces your worldview. Like if somebody leaves, then they're working against you and they're part of a vast conspiracy against you.
And some of that paranoia might have been legit because there was a few legit death threats, a few like legit assault attempts. But he would, the same way that he would stage like faith healings and stuff in church, he would stage giant coups against him. He would stage like murder attempts. Yeah, where like, you know, stuff where it was like he would claim that someone just came and tried to shoot him and then ran off into the cornfield before anyone could see it.
That happened in Guyana. He had his son shoot him.
Really?
Like stage an assassination.
It happened in California too, at least, where he did this like countless times where would fake like a health defect. Like he faked like heart attacks multiple times. You know, maybe there was a real one in there where he could have had like an actual like heart attack scare, stuff like that, because he was under a lot of stress and, you know, stuff. That's just the lifestyle he was living, put himself through. But he would constantly make public gestures of how he was like suffering for the cause,
just to galvanize more unity and also take more power.
To show, like, it was a show of how much he was giving.
Right. Let's get into what happened in Guyana. So, do we know why he left California?
Wait, Jonestown is in California, right?
As he said, so he's in California.
Yeah.
And these, like, news... So, like, he has bought off a lot of the government. And the way he did that was he, like, told his congregation who to vote for, and they would cross state and county lines and recast their votes multiple times. And because he was in bed with all the businesses, like, coercing them, basically, but, like, creating these business relationships, he had a massive amount of political power.
Yeah.
And he got, like, 3 or 4 people elected in the government around him, and they made him, like, the housing authority, which is a position I don't really know what they do. But he was a member of the local government, too. He had, like, a lot of power, and they were blocking these news stories. There was this reporter who wanted to write a news story with, like, a big newspaper that he was working with, and they wouldn't let him because they were, like, in bed with Jim Jones, too.
Yeah.
But this dude publishes it independently. And then his
wife...
Can I
add a little to that story real quick? They were gonna... Like, so they were working with this reporter who wanted to write a story. They kind of said no, they tried again, and then eventually he was like, okay, yeah, well, if you're gonna do it, it's gonna be on my terms. So I'll send a car to come pick you up at this time and take you to a neutral location. And the guy was like, okay. So the time comes around, the guy walks down out of his office. There's a big car with like a couple of gigantic humans, like 6'5", 300-pound black guys that were like literally were thugs before they joined the church. And so like just intimidating guys. They're like, get in the car. So he gets in the car. He's stuck between Jim Jones and this gigantic human, like gigantic intimidating human. And they drive around the block just for an hour while he's just verbally like attacked and for trying to run this paper on Jim Jones.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a preemptive intimidation tactic, you know, which was very typical. He was very, he wouldn't let things happen. He would get ahead of them and go make efforts. And that's just an example of it, of like getting ahead of this report that someone's trying to release.
But yeah, so as Jim Jones is like feeling the pressure mount, he starts sending people out to Guyana. They got this piece of land from the Guyanese government that was like totally it was like straight jungle wilderness that was totally untamed. And they bought it, like he has this long-term plan of going out there, creating utopia for them to live in. And he starts sending dudes out there to start building. And it's like totally, like they need to clear out the wilderness and then
it's a jungle in Guyana.
It's just straight jungle. And then
That's sick.
At some point around this time, his lawyer turns on him, which is like, I think, viewing it tactically, I think that was the end. Like as soon as his lawyer turns on him, there's like,
For
it
what
starts
reason
taking time on.
specifically? He
I
just
think,
you said differences?
Yeah, he was like an egomaniac, and I think I don't really remember all the specifics, but like he had been making insane requests of him the entire time, and he was kind of going along with it. But like,
Bro, we got a fit duck.
Oh, let's go.
Yo, that's sick.
You want to toss him some more donut?
He was like, yo, dude, check
Let's
out
toss him
these
some
guys are
cinnamon roll
feeding
'cause it's
us.
trash. Okay, so his lawyer turns on him. I think he was maybe friends with the wife with the kid who left too, and I feel like that started the ticking time bomb. Like they were only gonna last so long without the lawyer, and like it kind of. So he was the lawyer and the wife with the kid, or not wife, but just like mate with a kid. Started this organization that was like the people who had left the People's Temple, who wanted to expose it, and then these stories were coming out. So Jim realizes that they have to get out of there. So he pushes this move to Guyana super prematurely, and they bring out a ton of yo.
What's up, boys?
Get it, boy. They move out a ton of people.
Oh, they got to go in for that one.
Way
get it,
before they
get
had
it.
the capacity to
Yeah,
handle
boy.
them. So they're in Guyana. They have to make food for all these people and housing for all these people, and it's totally undoable. Like, they just can't pull it off.
Yeah.
So they're actually in a terrible situation with a bunch of old people who can't work and, like, children and stuff like that. And, yeah, it's just, like, a very bad situation that's going downhill very quickly. And meanwhile, the lawyer is working with the wife and the kid and other people who'd left the church to try to get it like taken out, because they still have family members in there. Like when people would leave, they would leave without their family members, like because Jim wouldn't allow that to happen. So parents would leave without their kids, and their kids
Whoa.
would still be in it
It's
because
insane.
Jim wouldn't let them go. And so like they were all in Guyana. They were like working against the clock trying to set it up, and they weren't going to be able to pull that off. And then the lawyer is working with these people, trying to get the attention of the local governments to like come in and shut them down. And they get the attention of this congressman who goes out to Guyana with like a news station. And so like when Jim is in Guyana, he's like totally going over the edge. Like his people have already turned on him. His delusions are crashing down, but he's not going to let that happen. So he's like delusional. And at this point, he's taking a ton of meth. He's hyped up on meth all the time. He has a speaker system that goes throughout the entire camp. And he's like constantly on meth talking through the speaker system. And like they play some recordings on the podcast series that we're doing this based on, where he was like slurring his words. You could barely tell what he was talking about. It's all just like rage fueled rants.
Jesus.
And he was so pissed at all the defectors that he would have like, so the parents leave, the kids are still with them. They would have these struggle sessions where they would like come in, talk about the defectors, yell at people who were like thinking about leaving or wanting to send a letter to home or something like that.
Yeah.
There's this one where they bring up this old black dude who was trying to send a letter to his family back home, and he just like missed them and wanted to like have any form of communication with them, and they just like publicly break him down for like trying to do that. In like it's like this shit is like some of the most heartbreaking shit you'll ever hear. Like the recordings of it happening where they're like defacing this dude in front of everyone, or like they bring the kids of their parents had left and the kids are still around. They bring the kids up in front of everyone to like talk about what they want to do to their parents, and are just like praising them. So their kids like talking about all the like horrific violent acts they want to do to their parents who left in front of everyone, and Jim is like laughing like a maniac and cheering and stuff like that in these like recordings. And he's hyped up on meth constantly, like giving these like rants about the defectors and socialism over the loudspeaker. He starts staging these white nights, trying to see if people will kill themselves for him. He's saying like, they got us, like they're coming, like the CIA is trying to destroy us, like take us down, so we have to like commit mass suicide and active like revolutionary suicide to make the world a better place. And everyone drinks, and then he's like, okay, this was just a test, like we're good. But I'm happy you're
That's
loyal
crazy,
to me.
man.
And then
So you had them drink fake poison?
yeah, and then he has his kid shoot at him to like justify the outside threats and stuff like that. So people, and they have no access to the real media, so he becomes the media, and he's like reinforcing
Sounds like North
everything he's
Korea,
saying.
bro.
It was crazy. And then meanwhile, this the lawyer dude who's like the worst thing that could have happened to Jim is have his lawyer turn on him and join this group of defectors who's trying to bring down the cult and get their family back. And that dude is like working, trying to get just like U.S. authorities to look into it. So then this congressman comes out with a news crew, like one of the big media channels, like CBS or something like that, a news crew. With this congressman comes out to look at the cult, and they're like prepping everyone for it and stuff like that, trying to get everyone ready to put on a show and make sure everyone seems happy. And the congressman comes out, everyone seems super happy. They're like getting interviews with everyone who like makes it seem like a socialist paradise. And then the congressman gets up on stage. They have him for dinner, and like the entire Guyana colony is like in the shit. Like they're trying to get food, they don't have any food. But meanwhile, like Jim Jones is living in his like neat he has his own cabin, and he has like access to all of the amenities you would want. But then everyone else is living in like tiny cabins that are like overstacked with like 20 extra people, and like they only have rice to eat, but Jim has everything. But they like prepared a big dinner, like everyone got a feast, they got to eat the foods that they never got to eat out there. And then they bring the governor up on stage to say some words, and he's like, I've heard some bad rumors about this place, but when I look around, it seems like everyone here seems to think this is like the best thing that's ever happened to them. And they play the actual recording of this on the podcast, and they just erupt in like thunderous applause for like minutes. Like everyone goes absolutely crazy. But then one person from the cult sneaks over to like the camera crew and the congressman is like, hey, I want to get out, and they're not letting me. Like, please get me out of here.
Whoa.
So then
Jesus.
He goes to bed that night. Jim Jones finds out that this happened, and they're like trying to do damage control. And Jim has like he has his inner circle, right, of people who would like literally are incapable of independent thought and would do literally anything for him. And they're trying to like do damage control. And because Jim has been like so delusional and like ramping up this hatred against the defectors, like if you look at the situation, there were a few people. So then the congressman comes back with the camera crew and individually interviews everyone. And there were like 900 something people in this cult. And of the 900 people, I'm gonna get this number wrong, but I feel like about a dozen wanted to leave. Like when pulled aside quietly, they were like, yeah, I do want to get out of here, and I can't. But the other like 800 something wanted to stay. So like if you're looking at that situation rationally, you could just be like, okay, that's completely fine, we'll let them go and we'll survive this. But because Jim had like inspired so much hatred for the defectors, they like start to leave. They're like taking these people, and it's like parents leaving their kids behind and shit like that, because like they can't take the whole family, or the family is part of the delusions. They can't convince them to leave with them. And then one of Jim's boys from like the inner circle is like, yeah, I want to leave too. And everyone like looks at him and like looks at the camera crew, and they're like, he's not with us. Like, you cannot let him come. Like he's up to something. Like, please do not let him come with us. And there was like, what are you talking about? Like, he's fine, he'll come with us. And then so they hop on like a Humvee, and I think somebody had pulled a gun on the congressman while they were in the process of trying to leave. This like old veteran who was part of Jim's crew, and Jim just like pulls him away, walks up to the congressman, and extremely calmly is like, does this change everything? And the congressman is just like, it's like a super eerie moment. The congressman's like, no, like, you guys are all right. Like, we're just going to take the people who want to leave and get out of here. And then they load up like a car with all the people who want to leave. They like drive it to the tarmac, get in a plane, and they're like getting ready to take off when Jim's like inner circle guy who is with them pulls out a gun and just starts unloading on them.
Fuck,
and then
dude.
I think they tackled him to the ground, like pull the gun away from him. And they're like gonna try to take off, but then a crew of Jim's other guys who were like heavily armed pulls up and just like unloads on everyone. They murder the congressman, and he's like the only congressman who's been killed in the line of duty in U.S. history.
Damn.
And there was another like news anchor with them who ended up becoming a congresswoman who they shot in the head, who survived. So they like unloaded on them and then came back to the compound where they like drank the Kool-Aid, and Jim gave like there's like literally a recording of him talking about their active revolutionary suicide at the end, and you can hear like screaming kids in the background and shit. It's like so dark.
It's so chilling. You can.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Kind of want to watch some of these videos.
Dude,
bro.
you have
Sounds
to know, yeah.
For sure.
The Martyr Made, this is based on like the Martyr Made podcast. They
Okay.
did like a 7-part series on it. That's so good.
Shit, dude.
But yeah, that's how the story ends.
When did the curse sort of take him over physically, and he started to grow octopus tentacles from his face?
So true.
Bro, who are you talking about?
Jim Jones.
Fofo, I'm
He has
gripping.
like the face and like where his chin is, it's like octopus tentacles.
Fofo, I'm gripping.
What are you talking
Jim
about?
Jones. You know what I'm talking about.
Bro, are you talking about Davy Jones from Pirates of the Caribbean?
Isn't that?
This is completely different, bro. This is not the Pirates of the Caribbean. We're talking
You
about
told me the
Jim Jones, the cult leader.
You told me the name and I looked it up. The
No.
antagonist, the foe of Jack Sparrow.
No, this is not the
dude. No.
You're thinking of Davy Jones, the Pirates of the Caribbean
Hmm.
antagonist, who has octopus tentacles growing out of his face.
Oh.
Yeah.
That makes so much more sense.
No, yeah, I
I was wondering
understand.
where you guys got all this information. I'm like, was there a prequel I missed?
Yeah.
Oh.
That tracks, bro.
Okay. I was wondering why you were so confused.
That's a
about
super understandable mix-up.
Calypso. I
Yeah.
was like, he was betrayed by his lover and he was cursed. Okay.
Okay, so we'll get
See-
into Davy Jones.
See,
after
that was
this.
true. He was betrayed by his lover, but it was
He
not
was.
Calypso.
What are
Yeah.
the parallels between Jim Jones and Davy Jones?
Fofo, I'm gripping.
And we're back.
Cut that out.
I think one of the markers of like a cult psychology is like, and you definitely see this with Jonestown, where when reports were run on the People's Temple that would claim all of this stuff that was factually true, they would just outlaw it as like anti-church propaganda. You see that in Mormonism, like today, like they have whole databases of stuff that's labeled anti-Mormon propaganda, and it's like a lot of it is just real reporting on the Mormon church and like real stuff that goes on. It's kind of like it's kind of like an emerging tactic to keep people within the church, where like from the leader or whatever, to claim all of that's anti-church propaganda, but then the people buy into it, and even then when they're exposed to it, like in the face of proof that they're incorrect about something, use that in the reverse aspect as like an attack on what they believe to be true and like a falsehood, and it just more fundamentally
Yeah,
makes them believe that they're in the right.
for sure.
Yeah.
I always wonder with really extremist cults like this, how much people maybe have even just like a little bit of doubt, but they almost push that down because they're afraid to admit that they
Right.
could have been wrong because of how much time, money, and all the things they've done in the cult, that they just don't want to face the fact that maybe it's all been a lie. Like, I wonder
Definitely.
what percentage of people have just like a little bit of doubt.
And in the
Yeah.
People's Temple too, like with those late night accountability sessions or whatever they would have, like if someone was expressing doubt, that would get brought up and people would get verbally or even physically assaulted for, expressing doubt in Jim or the People's Temple. So, that was kind of like an emerging tactic that wasn't even necessarily from Jim, but he egged it on always,
Sure.
he would kind of be the moderator there, and like, something would start to happen and people would be like, yo, you're being a little hard. He's like, no, let him keep going.
Yeah.
And and then eventually when he felt like they'd had enough, he would call it off. But
Yeah.
he was like a moderator.
So he was like, yeah, he like played the savior figure. He would like step
Yeah,
in and say,
okay.
all right, that's enough. Like,
That makes sense.
yeah.
yeah, he was like the savior, messianic figure, both just calling out justice. He's like, oh, this has been a just punishment now, but like, let's not go over the top. And it's like, from the start was over the top.
Right.
What I'm interested in is how he saw himself, and like it's the dynamic where I think it's like a dynamic you can see across stories of like a narcissistic empath who's like doing a lot of sacrificial stuff, but it's all subversively about them. Like I'm sure some of you guys know this. I've definitely talked to you guys at least about the story of Jeff Mangum from Neutral Milk Hotel. Do you know about that, Vojin?
I know the band.
Okay, so the lead singer of that band he dropped out of like high school, so he had never read The Diary of Anne Frank. And then he read it when he was like, I'm going to say 30 years old, that might be off, but like he read it and it completely destroyed him psychologically. And he locked himself in a hotel room for like a month. And while he was locked in the hotel room, he was going insane and met the ghost of Anne Frank, the child, fell in love with her. And so that's what their most famous album, Airplane Over the Sea,
that's
is about.
a fire song.
And so, no, such a good song and such a good album. So he like, his bandmates finally pull him out of the hotel. He goes straight to the studio. They record one of the great albums of all time. And then he leaves to go become a monk in like Europe somewhere.
Whoa.
And just disappears from society. But it's like the same dynamic. It's like narcissistic like being a narcissistic empath where you feel like immense empathy, but it's subversively about yourself the entire time. And it feeds this image of you as like a super compassionate person that you buy into as much as anyone else. And like it becomes this like, I don't know, like it feeds your ego, and then it also rationalizes all the other things you do. It's like Jim Jones, I think, was fine with doing all of the things he was doing because he thought it was like in service to a greater ideal. So he thought his drug addiction and his like insane sex practices and everything else, like he rationalized all of them as like being part of his servant mentality. But all of it was actually like subversively in service to like just the building of his ego and making himself into this godhead, which is crazy. I feel like I didn't tie that to Jeff Mangum really well, but it's like that kind of same idea is like the idea that he's like feeling this immense empathy for Anne Frank, so much so that like he locks himself in a hotel room, but then it becomes a story about himself falling in love with her, and it's like he's the centerpiece of that story.
He views the story from a third person and tries to see how other people would view it,
and then makes himself the hero in it.
Right, he makes himself the hero.
That's a really good way of putting it, yeah.
Do you think clearly there's like a pretty evil, tragic ending to the People's Temple. Do you think that Jim Jones always had kind of a evil or tragic tendency from the beginning, or do you think it was like do you even think he had a seed for that at first that was just fed by his circumstances, or do you think he was a well-intentioned individual at first who did genuinely a lot of good and then just couldn't withstand the constant feedback on his ego and kind of went insane from that?
I think that people want to be seen and known, and it's like people will like lean into their ego in part of that process, thinking it serves the process. But like as he leans into his ego more and plays this character more and more, and other people are feeding into that, and it's creating a character that he's not, that he probably feels like cognitive dissonance from, or just like he feels like that's not him fundamentally, like the character that everyone is worshiping. But at the same time, it's like his way of getting some form of the food he's looking for, just like in community and belonging. But he's like, instead of actually placing it on himself, like I think there's a version of Jim Jones that like could have gotten the community he was looking for in sincerity and just like lived a happy, peaceful life. But I think that since he got started on this ego trip and that became his source of like food for like fueling what he was actually like desiring for, and then people started worshiping him and raised their social status by praising him and like investing all of their stock into this character that he was having to invest his stock in order to get that output he was looking for. Like I think that's what drove him insane. So then like the way to get fuel from that, because it's not actually anything that sustains you, right? When you're the validation that you're looking for is feeding into a projection that you're like putting out, it's not actually coming back to you, but like you still feel the need to build it constantly. And I feel like that's the trap he got stuck in, where he was getting the validation that he had always been looking for and like the sense of community, but it was feeding into a projection rather than his actual self. And because of that, he was having to like constantly amplify the projection and like push the boundaries of how far he could push people to and stuff like that.
But as
in
that
order to keep
happens,
feeling that.
you kind of develop a split of internal
Right.
personality where when that split gets, you know, the character that you're pushing versus what you feel is authentic. I mean, maybe, I imagine near the end he kind of completely lost the sense of what his authentic self would be. So it just ultimately felt like a fraud. And then that's probably where a lot of the paranoia comes from. Just like constantly worried that he's going to be exposed as the fraud that he truly feels himself to be. Do you think that that's kind of...
Yeah, for sure.
I'm trying my hardest to stay composed right now. It is fucking freezing.
You're struggling?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting
Yeah, it's getting cold.
Holy fucking guacamole,
Should we
man.
try to wrap it up?
Are you gonna do this
Yeah, we can
year
wrap it
round? Do you think? Like, are you gonna keep doing it to, like February
I'm
and
gonna try to
shit?
petition the city to allow the fire pit to be out here because we had a big crackling fire in front of us right now. We'd be fine.
I think so too. Wait, why can't you do that?
The fire department came and shut it down
When? Like recently?
with Nick at the
Yeah.
end of Nick's episode.
And they said like they pulled up with the truck and all.
Yeah,
Whoa.
yeah.
I think the 3 things that would make it completely comfortable is the fire pit, rain boots to get in and out,
Yeah, rain boots would be clutch.
So
chairs
close.
that were out of the wall.
All of that can all that can happen pretty
Yeah.
easily.
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna bring rain boots next time.
I'm gonna
I
try to
pull
buy four sets of rain boots.
There you
I'm
go.
just so poor. I'm so
No,
poor.
bro, it's all
Please
good.
give me money. Please, if you're watching this podcast, give me so much money. I want it, and I'll use it. I'll use it
Venmo,
so
baby.
Yo,
And I
Venmo
got
Saya
you.
Jensen.
In the River Podcast and ensure that you continue to get In the River Podcast weekly. Get out those credit cards and donate.
Get out
right
those credit
now.
cards. Yo, if you give me a ton of money, I'll record way more often. And I'll also use it on
Don't give
myself.
him money,
and I'll
folks.
really enjoy
Don't give
it.
him money.
Yeah.
I'm
Give
gonna
him
buy
money
so
so
much
that we
cool
can
stuff.
get paid.
Yeah, he said.
Well, not
he's-
we.
Nah,
Who's this we
this
you're
Jim
talking about?
Jones guy over here, man. Come on, man.
Follow me, Vojin, and Alec's YouTube channel where we give you the truth behind the scenes of In the River Podcast and tell you what actually happened.
We are doing
Yeah.
this pod, by the way, in 5-degree weather. You're welcome.
That's
you know,
true.
we're kind of going through it over
We're
here.
doing this all for you.
Yeah.
For you, the viewer.
For you.
For
Yeah.
you.
All right. Anybody have closing thoughts on Jim Jones?
Honestly, kind of inspirational in the sense, like, the amount of people you can, like, just, like, gather and, like, fucking get into their mind and convince them that this is, like, okay is actually
Yeah.
insane. Like,
No, it's crazy.
He's
Like-
a charismatic son of a gun.
yeah,
Cult
dude.
leaders are like, there's definitely something admirable about them.
Yeah, I mean, seriously,
there
bro.
has to be, like, for
Yeah.
you to be in that position,
For sure.
Yeah.
there has to be something widely admirable about you
Yeah.
to have a following.
For
Yeah.
sure. And like again, like he was like more sacrificial than everyone through to the end. Like he would, I mean, I guess in Guyana he was kind of like tripping out on meth and eating a bunch of food that nobody else had access to. Before all that, he was like
Yeah.
sacrificing everything.
And especially his original, when he was still in Indiana, starting the People's Temple, he was like
Yeah,
the exemplary citizen for someone
Yeah.
giving back to the community and fighting social injustices and,
Yeah.
you know.
but also
Honorable.
shout out Darryl Cooper. It's kind of weird to do a podcast review. This has been a podcast review of Darryl Cooper's series on Jim Jones.
10 out of 10.
God
man.
Socialist, 10 out of 10.
I'm gonna
Shout
definitely
out
watch
Darryl
that
Cooper.
later. That
Yeah.
We
sounds
want you
awesome.
on the podcast, Darryl. Come out here. Yeah. Anybody else have closing thoughts?
You never think you'll be in a cult until you are.
That's
Mm.
true.
Real.
But you're in the inner circle, so you don't gotta worry about all that.
I'm in the inner circle, so I'm good.
Yeah.
Oh,
Watch your
man.
DMs. I'll be recruiting you.
Yeah.
Slide in no DMs. Fofo, I'm gripping.
Okay, this has been a podcast.
This
Fofo,
has
I'm
been a
gripping.
podcast, indeed.
Monumental.
Also, Olive Garden. Olive Garden, I want you as a sponsor. I'll give you 10 episodes. I'll give you a 1-minute ad in 10 episodes straight. And it's going to be the greatest ad you've ever seen. And all I want in return is for me and my boys to be able to eat at Olive Garden for free once a week.
Free
for a year.
breadsticks.
We eat at Olive
Give it
Garden
up for free breadsticks.
once a week for a year for free, and I'll do 10 1-minute ads.